with details regarding Tony Khan's purchase of Ring of Honor revealed and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for March 3rd. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With her out of action from injury since July, Asuka will more than likely not be making it back in time for WrestleMania. Fightful reported that as of February, Asuka was still listed on internal WWE inactive lists, while wrestlers like Xavier Woods were removed from it, even though he still hasn't appeared on programming. One WWE source indicated that the optimistic return is around spring for Asuka, and another said that no creative has been cooked up for her because she's not available as of yet. Following his release from WWE, many are wondering what is next for Samoa Joe. While we wait for his next move in pro wrestling, Malcolm Bivens, who worked with Joe on NXT, spoke about the former champion helping talent backstage. Samoa Joe, that was one guy where, when he first showed up on NXT, he would pull me aside and give me feedback after feedback. Little things that I never thought of, just the way I looked, or how I said one word, or putting emphasis on something. That was Joe. It's one of those things when someone like Joe or Sean or Regal gives you feedback, it's for a reason, and it's priceless knowledge. It's been incredibly helpful and great. During AEW Dynamite, Tony Khan announced that he is now the owner of Ring of Honor. As Bodyslam.net reported on this writing, not much was known about these specific details regarding Tony Khan's purchase of ROH. However, one source had stated to me that he heard that it was in the $30 to $40 million range, but I was unable to confirm that information with any other sources within AEW or ROH. When asking around about the sale of Ring of Honor and plans for the company going forward, sources confirmed to me that internal plans call for AEW to utilize Ring of Honor as a developmental territory of sorts. Additionally, it was said that main roster AEW talent will be dipping into the ROH brand on occasion. Talking about when this deal was finalized, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, "I figured if it's up for sale, there's two people who they're going to sell it to. It's either going to be WWE or it's going to be AEW. So I asked Tony Khan, you hear it's up for sale? And he says no. He has not heard anything about that. So I figured that it was not up for sale because if it was, he would know. A couple weeks later, I did hear more that it was up for sale and asked him again, and he didn't give me an answer. So then I knew I didn't know anything, but it was more likely that, in fact, at that point, it was up for sale. So this deal was put together basically 2 weeks ago on Thursday. At least it was mostly put together. I don't know when it was actually finalized, but obviously it was the next day on that Friday of 2 weeks ago. He said that he was pretty confident in it, that something was going to happen, and then later last week made the announcement that he was going to announce it on the show that the deal was basically done. Also on Wrestling Observer Radio, it was pointed out that WWE had an opportunity to purchase Ring of Honor, but Tony Khan made the better offer. Obviously, both WWE and AEW were contacted with the idea was to sell the company, and AEW was the one that obviously made the better offer of the two and got the company. As far as what this means going forward, I don't know. The tape library is very valuable to AEW because they want to do some sort of a streaming service. Whether they sell something to HBO Max or they do their own streaming service in some form. That amount of library with a lot of wrestlers including, one of the keys to that library is Ring of Honor owned that All-In show, which is an important part of the history of AEW. Also, it had all kinds of tapes of Bryan Danielson and all the other wrestlers, the Young Bucks, some of Kenny Omega, Jay Lethal. Fightful would add that many in WWE thought Tony Khan would instead be buying the tape library from New Japan. One source indicated to us that they were told recently that another offer came and Joe Koff and Sinclair wanted to go that direction. Chatter within wrestling really picked up on Tuesday night when higher-ups in another wrestling company heard ROH was being sold. Many within WWE had been under the impression that Tony Khan had bought a Japanese tape library that wasn't New Japan, which didn't end up happening. Meltzer even noted that Triple H had once pitched buying ROH to Vince McMahon. I think this would be, I'm going to say 2018, early part of the year. WWE made a pitch. Paul Levesque wanted to buy Ring of Honor, and there was some smoke to that, even though Ring of Honor obviously denied it at the time, because you always do. But there was something there. There were talks there, and they ended up going nowhere. From what I gather, Vince wanted to buy somebody bigger, not realizing that the bigger, which was New Japan Pro Wrestling, he couldn't buy. WWE tried to buy New Japan. They tried to buy Stardom. They tried to buy Noah. They tried to buy AAA. Nobody would sell to them from foreign countries for the price that they were willing to pay. So none of these deals ever got going. But this is one obviously that was in play, and whatever. They were not willing to sell then. But now Sinclair, again, the regional sports network deals were such a big loser when Sinclair bought them from Fox. So now they can't keep on. They could, but they didn't want to keep on a company that was not making them money. So that's what led to all this. With Cesaro recently departing WWE due to not coming to terms on a new contract, Ric Flair took to his podcast to explain why the Swiss Superman was held back in the company. No, Cesaro never worked as a strong heel. He is such a gifted talent, but he lacks what it takes to be really mean. He just never felt that in his heart. You got to be able to turn that switch where you just where people think you're gonna kill a guy, where they think you actually will kill someone. Fans will want to watch. After walking out on a WWE live event and turning down rehab, Jeff Hardy would be let go by WWE. The company would later offer him a Hall of Fame induction, which he turned down. With Hardy noting in an interview that he's excited about going to AEW, Tony Khan mentioned if he'd be a good fit for the company during a media call ahead of the Revolution pay-per-view. I do not think anybody should consider it a foregone conclusion. I do really like Jeff a lot. I think Jeff is still obligated to a company for at least several more days, but at some point, when Jeff is free and clear, I would love to have Jeff in AEW. Jeff is a friend of mine. I really like him very much, and I think the world of him. I have a lot of respect for him as a wrestler, and he is also a very nice person, and I genuinely do believe that he would fit in very well in AEW, and we would love to get him potentially. Dave Meltzer would also point out on his show that WWE could be looking for a reason to sue AEW for contract tampering. Look, we all know that Jeff Hardy is coming in. Jeff Hardy himself said it until he realized, oh my god, I just messed up. So he had to say I didn't mean it, because it's like, of course he's coming in unless something falls through. It's understood. Everyone in wrestling knows it, but you can't say it. Jeff Hardy today is under contract to WWE, so if you say that, it's like it's admission to tampering. Jeff's saying it's already a problem WWE because of course they're looking to do something legally in this situation. I mean, they're looking for that mistake. With him arrested on Monday on many charges including attempted murder, former UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez tried to shoot a man that molested his young relative. Talking about this on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer went into detail on what took place heading into the shooting. Cain's relative was going to a daycare. It's a home daycare in San Martin, which is about 5 miles from his house or so. He lives in Morgan Hill, so it's just outside of San Jose. The relative has been going there for about 2 years, and I guess on Friday, the stepson of the woman who ran the place was accused, taken in on charges of molesting a child. There was a lot of testimony, and he was let out on bail on Friday. It wasn't like he went crazy, Cain. On Saturday night, his whole family went to Pro Wrestling Revolution Lucha Libre show at Mount Pleasant High School in San Jose. They were all having a good time on Saturday night after this. Monday, he gets his gun, he goes on a high-speed chase, he finds him. There were 3 people in the car. There was the woman who runs the daycare, his wife, who was not the father, but the stepfather of the guy who's accused of this, and he starts firing shots. The woman and the stepfather had no idea and didn't believe the story. What they know and what they don't know, I don't know. There are allegations that the guy did it to other kids. If he did it to one, could you believe he could do it to others? Is it horrible? It's the worst. I can see why he flew off the handle. So he chased the car for about 11 miles. High-speed chase in Morgan Hill area, San Jose area on Monterey Highway. Crashed into the car and started shooting. There were 3 people in the car. The woman was there, the stepfather, and the alleged perpetrator. He hit the stepfather. He hit the wrong guy. Could have been the woman who's been sending his relative to daycare with. With Tony Khan purchasing ROH, their Supercard of Honor show for next month is up in the air, as Fightful noted. Talent that is booked for the April Supercard of Honor show was not and have not been briefed as of yet, and learned about it by watching Dynamite with the rest of the world. There were very few people remaining under contract, but they retained PR representative and had planned dates through the end of the year to tape TV. We've not been told whether or not those will continue or if the Sinclair syndication is a part of the deal or not. Before the announcement, the card for Supercard of Honor was not done, and those on the ROH side told us that they weren't confident that AEW talent would even be able to appear on the show. Obviously, that won't be an issue now. Another wrinkle is that Impact's Deonna Purrazzo is ROH Women's Champion and has been scheduled for the show since winning the title. Given Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the WWE Network will now no longer be available in Russia, with it said on the corporate website. WWE has terminated its partnership with Russian broadcaster Match and shut down WWE Network in Russia effective immediately. The move eliminates access in Russia to any WWE programming, including the company's weekly Raw, SmackDown, and NXT shows, its on-demand library, and all of its premium live events, including WrestleMania 38. Reacting to the Cain Velasquez news, Ronda Rousey took to Twitter saying she would have done the same thing if not worse. Velasquez would end up shooting the father of the man charged with molesting his relative. Police found a .40 caliber semi-automatic and two 10-round magazines in Cain's truck with 8 bullets missing. He's facing 10 charges according to MMA Junkie: 1 count of shooting at a motor vehicle, 3 counts of assault with a firearm, 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, and then 1 count for willfully discharging a firearm from a vehicle, as well as 1 count for carrying a loaded firearm with intent to commit a felony act. It turns out the ROH Supercard of Honor is going to take place according to Ringside News. It was even noted that the TV is working at a deal, not Sinclair, and that there is no deal right now, but tapings will be held. And it's believed it'll be on TNT or really any Turner channel. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.